What do you prioritize more? People liking you or your life's purpose? If you knew you could have everything you wanted if you just believed, would you take the first step or wait another 10 years? Here on the SDR&R podcast, we tackle everything holding us back.
Still don't know what I was waiting for, and my time was running wild, a million dead-end streets, and every time I thought I got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. So I turned myself to face me, but I've never caught a glimpse of how the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test. ChChanges. Turn and face the strange. ChChanges. Don't wanna be a richer man. ChChanges. Turn and face the strange. ChChanges. It's gonna have to be a different man. Time may change me, but I can't trace time.
Such good lyrics, David Bowie. Oh my God. Still don't know what I was waiting for, and my time was running wild. A million dead-end streets, and every time I thought I'd got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. So I turned myself to face me, but I've never caught a glimpse how the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test. ChChanges. Turn and face the strange. Oh my God, I love that. ChChanges. Don't want to be a richer man. ChChanges. Turn and face the strange. There's gonna have to be a different man. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. Yeah. Woo. Okay, so this is the episode this is the Do Have Understand episode. You know, it's all about the system that we usually keep ourselves to, okay? So normally the structure that we're taught for any kind of decision or life change or what have you is we believe that it goes in the following order. We believe that it goes understand first, like you go to school for it. Then you have the things, right? And then you do it. That's what we believe. But it's actually totally the reverse. So that might seem strange to you. It was strange to me when I first understood it, but let's dive in because this is a big one. This is like super duper important for all of your success and your dreams. So what do these words mean? Do, have, understand. Let's take it back to when I first entered music school. Like most people, I believed that I needed to totally understand everything and then have the stuff that goes along with it, and then I could finally be a rock star. So in order to understand all of that, I was like, all right, well, I gotta go to school. So I can't possibly be a rock star unless I've gone to school, right? But that, of course, is bullshit. That's not actually how life works. Life actually works where you just go out and you do it. And you just make a decision to do it, right? And then you have the things commensurate with doing it, and then you understand. I didn't know this yet, so I figured I had to understand things first, right? So I went out there, went to music school at Musicians Institute in Hollywood, and it was like this super prestigious, awesome possum school. You know, I learned all this stuff, right? Music theory and like guitar technique and singing technique and production and all of these things. I really worked hard. I was in the woodshed for 12 hours a day, right? For years. And then I figured I would have the things. So I thought magically that because I understood it, because I had the skills now and the knowledge, then people would flock to me. And I also thought, I kind of had this idea that people would sort of give me all of these guitars and these things because I was like one of the better guitar players in the area. So I was really upset when like these super rich guys would buy these like really nice guitars that I would just drool over, but I could never have them. But I guess that's kind of another story. But anyway, I believed that I would have these guitars. I believed that it was in this order, that I would understand it, get the knowledge, go to school, and then I would have the guitars and the stuff and like all the accolades of like the rock star life. And then I would be a rock star because people would naturally flock, the fans would flock to me. There would be lots of flocking. But there wasn't any fucking flocking. Nobody had heard of me. Nobody knew. And I think when speaking with a lot of startup entrepreneurs that are like kind of on their first go round, this is their thinking. And I mean this with love. This is a criticism, but it's a criticism to save you years of like bullshit spinning of your tires, so to speak, because you really don't need to do these things. In order to have a successful business, you have to just do it. You have to just have a successful business. In order for me to be a rock star, I didn't have to have all of that knowledge. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but it's not necessary. I mean, how else do you explain a bunch of these youngins that, they have some co-writers, yeah, but like they're doing the rock life and selling out stadiums, and that's not what I'm doing right now. Right? So, do I know more than them? Yeah, probably. Yeah. But clearly that's not a prerequisite, right? So these startup people, we get a big dream, we get this passion for it, we're fucking excited, and then we're like, oh, it would be smarter if I didn't do anything and instead I fucking went to school. Like, who's telling you that? That is such horseshit. I love you guys, but that's bullshit. That's just gonna waste however many years it takes you to go to school. Not to mention paying off your student loans. That's a lot of cash. And a lot of time. Like if you go to this school and get your, I don't know, a lot of people want to get an MBA. They're like, oh, I can't be a business owner without an MBA. Like, screw that, man. MBAs are created for managerial positions at already established like Fortune 500 companies. They don't tell you anything about what it's really like the nitty gritty of a startup. They don't tell you any of that shit. They don't teach you how to like troubleshoot a goddamn printer that's, error 503 and you go all office space on that sucker. Like, they don't teach you that. They don't teach you how to make sales when your entire household is depending on you to make some sales, or you're just gonna fall flat on your face and have to go get another job or something to make any kind of money. They don't teach you that. And that's what you need to know, right? I mean, some of the most successful business owners, this blows my fucking mind. Some of the best business owners, entrepreneurial badasses, excuse all the French, but I'm like very passionate about this because people are wasting decades. They're wasting their lives, and they're good intentioned people, right? And they have the right ideas, but they're just fed this line of crap, and then they do this instead of doing their dreams, right? So that's why I'm upset. That's why I'm passionate about this. But anyway, all of these really successful entrepreneurs, they just decided to go after it, and they didn't understand stuff. We're talking about the do, have, understand, steps, okay? So you do not need to get an MBA. You do not need to go to school. You don't need to understand it before you do it. But that's a lie that I find a lot of parents saying this. Like, well, if you're going to do something, you got to understand. No, you do not understand until after you do it all. I hope that makes sense because, man, this is important. If you go to get a degree and get a master's or whatever, I mean, that's at least a couple years of schooling, if not 6 or 8. And then you got to take another decade to pay all that debt off. So really, you won't even start on your life's dreams or your vision or whatever until like more than 10 years? I mean, maybe 15 years? My God, what's going to change in 15 years? Think about what life was like 15 years ago. Ooh, that was pre-Facebook, man. Damn, stuff has changed. Technology doubles every 7 years these days. So that's 2 doublings. That means it's 4x what it is now. Do you think your idea is going to be relevant? When people tell you you have to understand everything before you go out and do it, that's a lie, and it's a trap. It's a death trap. That could be your whole life. I mean, you might just have to give it up. So just think about that. So you don't have to understand. Understanding is not the first step. It is the last step. And it's not a necessary step. It's more of a bonus. It's like a perk. It's like a side effect of the pill that you need. So the second step is have. So after you do the things, so let's go back. So now I'm having some success at music, and it's kind of a full circle type deal, right? Because I thought I needed to understand it, so I went to music school, and then I thought I would have this stuff, but I couldn't afford the stuff, but I needed to do it, right? And that was fucking terrifying. It was terrifying to do it, and it will always be terrifying to do it, because what if you fail? And I hear you, and that's not even you, that's like your subconscious, telling you, maybe you shouldn't live your dreams, maybe you shouldn't live your life, because what if you failed? Are you going to fail? Yes, absolutely. There's going to be times that you fail. There will also be times that you succeed if you stick to it. Part of success includes some failures. That's just you giving you the opportunity to get better. That's all that is. It's just you dialing it in, you're retuning. If you ever, I don't know, maybe this is dating me, but I remember we used to have the radios, right? And you'd have a bunch of dials, and you had to adjust the knobs until it tuned in to the correct frequency that you wanted to hear. And it's the same thing with you. When you buy something new, let's talk about guitars, right? When I first was playing guitars, I couldn't conceive of a guitar that would cost more than about $1,000, because the best guitars that I could conceive of had a couple of options, right? I really just needed them to stay in tune and sound pretty decent, right? But I couldn't see any point at all in an $8,000 guitar, unless you were just crazy egotistical, right? Then I started to play the guitar, and I noticed that certain guitars, that the ones that I had bought, would fall out of tune after a while. Okay, so that was a quality thing. You need better tuners, and tuners cost more money. Or you need a tremolo system that's special that will, keep it from falling out of tune, whatever. Then I found that I could play a whole separate section of type of music. I could play funk rhythm guitar. Right? I could play that shit on a nicer guitar, but I couldn't play it on mine because it was too punchy. It sounded really bad. It sounded harsh, right? It sounded like someone was putting an ice pick into my ear. I hated it on my guitar. But on a nice Fender Stratocaster, it didn't sound like an ice pick. It sounded nice. It was it was real tasty. What I'm saying is that I didn't understand the real guitar that I needed until I started doing it. I started playing. So as you level up, then you see the need for things. I would imagine that Elon Musk has an understandable need for a private jet, right? Because he's got meetings all over the place. But to me, I don't yet understand that. First class is good enough for me, bro. I'm happy with first class. But whatever it is, you get there as you level up. So the understanding comes after the doing. You got to do it first, and then you see the problems. I didn't know, and how could I? I didn't understand that I needed a better guitar until I played the shit out of the guitar that I thought I needed. And then I understood, I really need a better guitar. All right, moving right along. So what are other things that our subconscious will use, excuses, to prevent us from doing what we want and need to do? Well, your subconscious might tell you that you don't have enough money to do it. That is also bullshit. I know. Excuses. It's actually bullshit. Here's why. Because you might think about, when you think about, okay, how much money do I need to make? Normally when people ask themselves that question, they go for the answer of how much they need to make in an entire year. But we're not talking about paying yourself a year's salary here. We're talking about paying for the next week. So what do you need for the next week? That's the question. What do you need before you start getting some money in from whatever this startup project is? Can you do some steps, not all, maybe, but some of the steps while you continue at your current position or, making whatever money you make normally? I actually did a lot of entrepreneurial things while I was attending college for whatever. So you actually don't. I understand if you've got a company that has some startup costs, Some of those costs are necessary, and when you find that they are absolutely without any question necessary, then okay, figure out the money to pay for it so that you can continue to do what you need to do. But the doing is what matters most. And I would say that the vast majority of people have this weird belief that they need all this junk, but you don't. You really don't. What do you need? Maybe you need a printer, but you can get away without spending, $100 on a printer by going to a FedEx and spending $1 to print like whatever you wanted printed. Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the neck, but hey, you don't actually need a $100 printer. So look, I just saved you $100. Yes, you want to make this amount of money in your dreams, and I'm not saying that sarcastically. That money comes, but it might come a little later than you would like, and that's fine. But just do the doing. Do it, right? Do it. You don't need that kind of money. When I first started networking, I thought, I need to look the part of a lawyer. Do I need like 5 different suits? Do I need the navy blue one and the brown one and the black suit and the pinstripe? No, man. You probably just need a tie, or whatever it is that signals to people that you're probably like some type of professional. Lawyer, CPA, doesn't matter. You can tell them when you talk to them. So ask yourself, when you lay out like your budget, like be careful with budgets. Budgeting is important, but it's also like you really got to question everything in your budget. But that actually gives you a better idea of how to be a better business owner, right? Because you're already questioning every line item in your expenses thing. Unless you absolutely need this, unless it's generating revenue for you, and if it's generating revenue, it needs to do more than pay for itself. It needs to give you a multiplier on it. And people have this struggle with hiring people, like their first hire. I struggled with this. I didn't want to hire a full-time attorney because I was like, oh God, this is, tens of thousands a year. How on earth can I pay that? But I was thinking about it wrong. All I needed to do was pay this attorney for like a couple of weeks before they could generate revenue for me. Okay, so it wasn't 80, 90,000. It was like I don't know, 2,000 or something, whatever would be paid in that week, maybe 3 or 4 at the very most, before I could get that attorney to generate revenue. And that was very easy to get them to generate revenue. All I had to do was give them some of the work and have them do the legal production work rather than me. And then, because I had more time, I could spend some of that time going out and getting more revenue myself, getting more customers, more clients, doing more legal work so that everybody could share in the wealth and profit from it. So you don't actually need a lot of these things that you think you need. Hesitate, right? So when you hear that bullshit in your subconscious, just think, do I actually need all of these things right this instant? We actually talk with our clients a lot, because if you were to do everything perfectly for, like if you go to us as a law firm and you say, I want to do everything perfectly so that I have the legal structure of a business that's making $1 million a year, our legal bill to do all of that would be around 40 grand, maybe, at least 15 or 20. But you don't really need it because you don't have $1 million, a year company right now. You have a 30,000 a year company, like if you're doing decent. So what all you really need is probably an LLC. You need help structuring that correctly so that you get limited liability. And if anything goes wrong, God forbid, with your company, the people bringing the lawsuit can't go after your personal assets like your house. But that's it. Do you want a customer contract? Yeah. You want a terms of service or a click-through agreement on your mobile app? Or yes, you want those things. You want the trademarks eventually. But if you don't even have the brand name yet and nobody's aware of your brand name, there's no risk that someone's going to steal it because you don't even have it yet, right? So you don't actually need to give us 15 to 40 grand. You just need to give us like enough to start up a company for you. And that's just one thing. That's a lot. It's like 10%, or far less than that. And by doing that, that will make you a better entrepreneur or better at whatever it is that you're having your goal to do. Don't come up with what you got to do in the next year, because that's going to completely overwhelm you. And you will be trapped in fear, likely, unless you're like a total entrepreneurial badass. So come up with, 5 things every day that you can do that will push the ball forward, that will push the needle. Okay, that's it. And then just do those. These things might be 10 minutes a pop, maybe it might be just an hour a day, but do something. Take some steps forward. Then you will have the things that you need to do it better. And then, after you have the success, then you will understand all of it. And then you will have the knowledge and you can teach. And that's how you get a lot of these entrepreneurial badasses that like teach at business school who never had an MBA. Ha! So that's really what you need to understand with, and that doesn't necessarily require school. Schooling can help, but my God, if some of these college students had the kind of laser focus that entrepreneurial life gives you, like let's think about that. So let's say that someone was like, I'm going to do contractor work, I'm going to work on houses, I'm going to be a great handyman. And maybe they, were taught some by their parents and like they've got kind of a knack for fixing stuff. So then they go to work and they've got some business at this, and some guys start wanting to hire them for like remodeling, right? So remodeling is a much higher level than like just installing some new sets of light, or maybe they need like electrician knowledge. Then they would go to college or this trade school with a laser focused thing that they know they have to learn. This one thing. So all of those other classes, like they don't care because they're not going there to get a degree. They're going there so that they can rock out their business. And that is a very different thing. Whenever teachers talk with a student and they can see that they have this laser focus, this urgent need to get the thing that they want, these professors love those students because they're gonna soak up that knowledge like crazy, unlike all of these open options kids that are just like, oh, I don't know, man, college is pretty sweet, like I'll fucking get stoned and whatever, right? Like they're not there to learn. I mean, it might be nice as a side effect, but that's not the primary intention for going to college. I went to college for my first year, and I'm making fun of myself. I had an open option major. Like, I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know why I was there. It was just what everybody did. But the second year, I had taken one philosophy course, and man, I ate that shit up. And then I was focused, and I couldn't get enough philosophy courses. And I took every single thing. And hey, that's helping me out today with this podcast. So go us. So you do first. And I know you don't understand it, but that's fine. And I know it's scary because you might fail. That's also fine, but you do it first. Don't eat up the lie that you need to understand everything. By doing, it will reveal to you what you don't understand and what you really need to understand, and then you can just go figure that little thing out. And it's a tiny thing. It's not like an 8-year college thing, which is much cheaper. And then you understand. And understanding is a side effect. It's like the last part. If you talk to any lawyer and you ask any lawyer that owns their own law firm, I would say I would be shocked if they didn't say something like, law school doesn't really teach you how to run a business. But the goal when going to law school for me was basically to have my own law firm. Did I know how to run a law firm from law school? Nope. Didn't have a clue. I learned a lot of stuff. I definitely got a lot of knowledge. But a lot of the stuff that I use from day to day, in fact, I'd say more than 90% of it, I learned after doing it and after having the things necessary that I needed. Once I got out of law school, I started my own firm. And I did everything I could to push that ball forward, and I made a lot of mistakes. Then I understood the mistakes that I was making later on, and as an effect, as a result of my doing. But law school didn't teach me how to do that. Had I gotten an MBA, a master's in business, they would not have taught me how to do that. What did I need to do? Well, for me, particularly, individually, my unique law firm required that I go out and do a lot of networking. Did they tell me one word about networking and I didn't even know what the hell that was. But it was very beneficial. Networking allowed me to go out and meet people and not be a wussy about it, not be a shut-in or hermit. I went out, I shook a lot of people's hands, I introduced myself, I gave them trust in me. I told them, hey, I'm a reliable guy, my word is my bond. And I started this reputation of doing good legal work and having the capacity. And I was kind of charming, I guess, or I'd like to think so. And that helped me out a lot with the law firm. You do it first. You do it, you do it, you do it. And I love the David Bowie language because he's saying, turn and face the strange. Isn't that exactly what it feels like? He's like, fake it till you make it, turn and face the strange. Because everything that you see when you decide to do something is gonna look weird. It's gonna look strange because you are changing, changes. You are changing your whole world in life, okay? Which is really exciting and exhilarating and quite scary. But you know, everything's gonna look strange to you and it's gonna feel wobbly, right? Because you don't know where stuff is. It's your new time. But you can't understand until after you do. And you certainly can't have the success you want until you do it. So the rock star life, I had to do it. And I didn't get the gumption, the self-confidence to go out and do that until very recently. So I just made the damn decision. Hell or high water, I don't want to die having not done this. There's going to be some people that don't like me, and I've gotten a fair bit of criticism, and you know, I'm grateful for all of that. I am, because it makes me better. Now I'm starting to have the stuff I need to be a rock star, right? I'm getting some results because I've been doing. Then I come to understand how I had success. I understand all of the stuff about the music industry. That's what I really needed to know. They didn't teach me about the music industry really at my music school. They taught me how to melt faces with my rock star guitar licks, but they didn't really teach me how to do the business, and that's different for everybody. We all have different talents and things that we can do and stuff that we can't. So if you have a dream, and I fucking hope that you do, you gotta just do it. Your subconscious mind is gonna try to sabotage you, like we always talk about, because it doesn't like change. Your subconscious hates change, and it's gonna try to stop you, and it's gonna say but. You need to tell it to shut the fuck up. Yes, I don't understand it. I agree with you. I don't understand it, but I fucking will. I will understand it. Act it out. Think about all of those things. Really dive deep. If I go to college to understand this, where will I be financially? Where will I be emotionally? Must I do this? Does it make more sense for me to start taking some steps forward and then see where I stumble and then learn those tiny things that I must learn and be a razor-focused student for just the one thing that I need to learn? John Frusciante, the guitarist who's a big hero of mine, but he's the Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist, he was like this. He actually went to the exact same school that I went to, but he apparently, the teachers thought he was kind of a jerk because he would just skip their classes. But he was doing it. He was out there playing with every single band in Hollywood, California that he could possibly play with. And he just went into a few classes, 5 a week or something, not, 25 or 30. And he would just listen into the classes that he wanted to know. And that was all. And he wasn't being an asshole. The guy's he's the most kind-hearted, wouldn't hurt a fly rock god, right? He's awesome. But, these teachers were angry because, he was not doing the curriculum, right? But no, he was. He was doing the rock star life, playing with everyone that he could possibly play music with. And eventually he found the Red Hot Chili Peppers, even though he was 17 years old. And they were like, wow, this guy is great. They discovered that he was this reliable guy that was doing things first and asking questions later. And that's how you gotta be. You must be like John Frusciante. So ChChanges, fake it until you make it. Let yourself not understand. That's all good. When these boomers who we all think are the most successful business owners now, when I'm talking to them, when they were kids, they were kicked out of their houses, and not even kicked out. They wanted to leave. They couldn't imagine, they couldn't fathom living with their families, their conservative parents or whatever. So they left as soon as possible. And how did they survive? Do you think they all had the life skills to survive? They knew everything? They knew how to balance a checkbook and do all of these things? And no, they didn't, but they figured it out by doing it. And a lot of them just said, well, how do I want to live my life? I want to do this. I think this brings me joy. So they started to do it. They didn't understand it. They didn't even have the equipment. They didn't have the things. They didn't have the notoriety or the fame or whatever, the success, the customers, the friends, the family. They just did it. And that's how you must be. All right, that's all we got time for this week. Love you guys. Keep rocking. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please tell a friend. You can like and subscribe us and do all of those wonderful things for us. You can find us at jonathansparksmusic.com, spelled JONATHANSPARKS music, MUSIC.com. Okay, jonathansparksmusic.com. We will be playing on April 6th at Smith's Old Bar. If you want to come check us out, we're super stoked. We'll be opening for some amazing bands, really. So we're playing right at 8 o'clock at Smith's Old Bar in Midtown Atlanta. Hope you can check us out. And all of my music, Jonathan Sparks music, is available, of course, on all your major streaming services, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, and everything. Check us out. Hope you enjoy it. All right, keep rocking, guys. If you enjoyed this podcast and you want to hear more, check us out on jonathansparksmusic.com, JONATHAN sparksmusic.com. Please like and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We love you guys. We'll talk soon.